Hi, it's Sandy Wiley. Today I'm going to talk about love and infatuation and knowing the difference. This is like a part 2 of my video, is it a fling or the real thing? How do you know if you're just infatuated with someone or if you're in love with someone? Of course, time will tell if enough time goes by. But like in the beginning stages, love and infatuation are very, very similar to each other. The person is in your head like 24/7 in both love and infatuation. You can't get that person out of your head. Every day is just like a ray of sunshine. You can't wait to see that person. You can't wait to spend time with that person. You're always thinking of that person. Every song that comes on the radio reminds you of that person. So, in that sense, love and infatuation are very, very similar. Now, I know we could talk about the different kinds of love, like the brotherly love, agape. Of course, I didn't do my research for this video. I just wing it in all these videos. I don't want them to sound like rehearsed because they're never rehearsed. I never rehearse anything, even my karaoke. Yeah, but how do you know it's like if you're in love or you have a brotherly love, if it's a romantic love, or just love for like, brotherly love for mankind, or romantic love, sexual love, or just infatuation, which isn't love at all. I'm just going to talk about infatuation and and being in love, having romantic love that lasts. And when you're dating someone, how do you know, like, which it is, So, because they're very similar in the beginning, infatuation and being in love are very, very similar, except love lasts where infatuation doesn't. I think in both cases, when you're in love and you're infatuated, you have those rose-colored glasses that you wear, and you only see the other person in like the best possible light. You can't see their faults, okay? Over time, if you're really in love with a person, you will see their faults and still feel the same way about them. Where if you're infatuated, once you see their faults, it kind of fades, the feelings kind of fade away if you're just infatuated. Because eventually the true colors and the shine, the glow of the relationship is going to fade, and you will see the person for who they truly are. And if you still want to hang in there, then loud motorcycle. If you still want to hang in there, then you are truly in love. If you want to run, then you're infatuated. Now I'll give you an example. The guy I had the first affair with, Randy, was infatuated with me. He was not in love with me, and I wasn't in love with him either. And I'll let you know why. In the beginning, it was very exciting for him. He was married to the same woman that he got married like at 19, his first girlfriend. And I was married to the same guy I met at 18. I got married at 22, but I never had any man before my husband. And Randy was the first man that I had after my husband. Now, he was just taken because Randy was really an ugly, ugly guy. You could say, well, why were you with him if he was that ugly? I was just very desperate. My son was in the hospital, fighting for his life. He was in the hospital for 2 years. Me and my husband were not getting along, and I was very desperate. I was, and Randy was there, swooped in, and he was just there. Some people have good timing. They're at the right place at the right time. Like, in other words, they would never get the job, but if they're the only person that signed up and they were at the right spot at the right time, they get it. Just because, like, you can just say it's luck, or, the timing or something. It was the timing. And, I was a very attractive woman. I had a great figure. I was 10 years younger than him. And, he was a very, very ugly man. Not many women would look at him. If you went to a bar and you saw him, you go, ugh. Yeah. So I was not infatuated with him. I was just a desperate person who wanted to escape. I used him as a form to escape my life. And then I turned to alcohol to escape. But he was infatuated with me. But how do I know that it wasn't real love? Because he's the one who broke up with me. When my husband moved out of our house and moved in with his parents, we got a separation, and that scared Randy. Okay? Now, if he really was in love with me, it wouldn't scare him at all, right? Why would it scare him? He'd say, "Oh, that's great. She's separated now, like I'm separated," because he moved in with his mother, and yeah. And my husband moved in with his parents. So he would say, "This is a great opportunity now to really make a commitment with this woman I'm madly in love with." But he broke off with me. So see, when he saw Andrew, my husband, and I separate, and my husband moved out of the house, he wanted to call it off. So obviously he didn't want this to be anything more than a fling. So he wasn't really in love with me. It was an infatuation. Because at that time, a lot of stuff was going down, and I was, really beside myself. And I wasn't, he got to see another side of me, let's say. When me and my husband separated, he saw another side to me. And it wasn't all that pretty. See? So that's what I'm saying about infatuation, how it's different than when you're in love. Because when you're infatuated, you're only going to stick around for the good times. When you have rose-colored glasses on, you don't see the bad side of a person. And when you're in love, it doesn't matter. You love the person, warts and all. That's what I'm going to say. You love the person, warts and all. That means you accept all their, idiosyncrasies, all, all their neuroses, all their bad side, their ugly side. Everyone has that side, right? I have it, you have it too. But you don't let everyone see that side. But if a guy, or if you hang around when you see the other person's bad side and you still want to make a commitment to them, then that's real love. Because infatuation won't last. Once that other person sees that side of you, it's like gold veneer. It starts chipping away, and then you see the rust and the, all the shine is gone. That's infatuation. It's veneer. All the shine is gone. It's like wearing a veneer, like a gold-plated necklace. Once the shine chips away and you see the real the real metal underneath. In infatuation, you throw it out. In real love, you wear it proudly, even though it's all chipped and it looks all black and rusty. That's a good analogy. I love to do analogies. So after that, Randy was gone. That's fine, because I wasn't in love with him either. I wasn't infatuated with him. He just happened to be in the right place at the right time. So that's how you can ask yourself, do I know this person well enough? Do I see their bad sides, their ugly sides? And am I still excited and in love with them? Now, if you don't ever see their bad side, then you're really not in a relationship with them at all. And I've had that too. I've been in friendships where the other person didn't know me at all. In fact, they thought I was a totally different person than I was. So they really weren't in a friendship with me whatsoever. I was some image that they made up in their minds. They didn't know me at all. So, I mean, if you never get to know the other person, then you can go, stay in that infatuation phase for a long time, because the other person is never really letting you see them, like an actress in a movie or something. You're never really knowing the person, so you can't ever say you were in love with the person, because you weren't in love. I know people who've been married and they say, my husband didn't know me at all. So of course the husband thinks he's in love with his wife. This happened to my former yoga teacher. She said, her husband wasn't in love with her at all. He was, because he didn't really know her. He just loved the fact that they both did yoga, and they had a lot in common. They both did videos, and she wanted to go off to acting class, and he didn't like that, because he wanted her to continue the life that they were doing, traveling together, doing yoga, doing videos. And she said, you don't love someone for what they do for a living. You love the person for who they are, not what they do, right? Yeah, if you just marry someone because they're a doctor and they have a lot of money, that's not love. What if they lost their job and they were, had no money? So you see what I'm saying? Once you really break a person down and get to know them, that's how you know that is true love. If you don't stick around, that's how you know it was only an infatuation. So, yeah, real love isn't infatuation isn't just candlelight and roses, okay? That's what I want you to know. It's loving someone when they fart, when they throw up, when they have to take a shit and it smells in the bathroom. You might not like me saying this, but I'm trying to give you the real picture here. I'm going to be 58 in July. So I lived enough life to know a few things. And, if you say, ooh, then you're not in love with that person. You're just in love with romance itself. Some people are in love with love. Now, what does that mean if you're in love with love? You're in love with the idea of love, of being in love, of romance. You're in love with, come home, rip his shirt apart, throw him down on the couch, make mad, passionate love right there. You can't even wait to get in the bedroom. You're just in love with love. I mean, what if you come home and that person has a stomach, bug, and you see vomit all over the floor or something? You see what I'm saying? Then it's like, ugh, I don't want to bother with him. That's how you know. That is how you know the difference between in love and infatuation. Now me, I'm not in love with my husband, but I love him, but I'm not in love with him. if you're in love with someone, you have to have desire for them. See, I don't have any desire for my husband. Now, when you're in love, you desire the other person. And when you're infatuated, you desire the other person. Now, how do you know the difference? Because in both cases, you desire the person. And I just explained how you know the difference, because when you're infatuated, you're going to turn away from what's real, you know? You're gonna only like the glossy, like the gold necklace, the shiny gold. Once that starts chipping off, that starts chipping away, and you get to see the person and all their warts and all, and you still madly love, you still desire them. You still desire them despite knowing, or when they're sick, or when you've learned some things that you're not so crazy about, you know, that you really, you know, you're not really crazy about that. Let me think. Like say they swear, or they have a bad temper, or they're messy, they're pigs. You live with them and they're sloppy, you know? See? Or what if they gained weight? Or what if they cut their hair? And it's like, you know, you don't love someone because of their hair. What if I shaved my head? What if I had cancer and I had no hair? Now, a guy who was infatuated with me would go, ugh. See ya. A guy in love with me would still love me. He's not in love with my hair, you know? What if I gained 30 or 40 pounds? You see, you gotta be in love with the person, what's inside the person. So that's how you'll know. You gotta, and it takes time to know that. You can't know these things overnight. That's why I don't think people should rush into commitment. I don't believe in rushing into living together or getting married. I don't think that. Well, don't buy property together. I don't believe. If you want to live with the person to find out if you're compatible, but don't buy property with them. I don't believe in that. That's a kind of commitment, you know, buying property with someone. If you want to move in with someone and see like how it goes, see if it's a real deal, yeah, that's fine, you know. But don't be mixing your monies together, because then it's going to be kind of dirty if it isn't the real thing. But it takes time. It takes a lot of time to really, you know, see, you know, time will tell. It takes time. Because in the beginning, you know, when everything is sunshine and roses and like, you know, like carriage rides through Central Park, a horse-drawn carriage ride, me and Randy, through Central Park with a gorgeous, you know, very attractive woman. I was only in my 30s, you know. So, I was much thinner and much more attractive than I am now. I'm pretty old. I'm 58. I'll be 58. So, you know, I was much more attractive, much more thinner. I was younger, you know. So, you know, having a gorgeous, this is called eye candy. Because he wasn't good looking. I was eye candy, you know. So that's probably why he wanted me to go to his cousin's wedding and show me off in front of his family, because he was ugly. And I looked good on his arm, like, look what I got. I still have it, you know what I mean? You're going around like, you know, if that's the reason why you're going with that person, you're not in love with them. Like if I'm just going with someone because, oh, they're a doctor. Hey, look at me. I got a doctor living in a $1 million condo. That was Jim. But I was still in love with Jim. And I got to know all sides of Jim, believe me. He was very abusive. He was verbally abusive, emotionally abusive, and physically abusive. And I got to know his neuroses, and he wasn't that suave, you know. I got to know him, let's put it that way. I got to really know him. And it was hard. I was still in love with him when I left him. But and Dick Geis, 16 years. You know, I was so in love with Dick Geis after 16 years. I used to, during the pandemic when everything was shut down and all the psychologists only did their therapy online for the only webcamming. And I asked him, can I come by and just, see you behind the glass door in his workshop. So that's where I used to go every Tuesday and fall into his arms and hold him. But see, I drove 40 minutes to see him for 2 in between patients after 16 years. What does that tell you? Think about it. Listen to what I'm telling you. How do I know I'm in love with him? I drove 40 minutes to see someone behind glass, not touch them. This is during the pandemic. Just to look at someone after 16 years behind glass and still feel as excited as the first time I met him. It was very, very hard letting him go, but I mean, he's mistreated me over the years. I mean, it's a long story, but it took a long, long time. Even when I was with Jim, I couldn't let him go. I was that much in love with him. I was madly, madly in love with him. Those were the 2 men I was in love with. Jim and Dick, both my psychologists. I was not in love with Randy. And my husband I love, but I'm not in love, okay? I love him like a brother, like you would love your best friend, like you would love your brother if you have a brother. That's how I love him. Like he's family, like he's my family. He's the father of my children. He's my husband, but it's not a passionate love. It's not a desire. I don't look at him and go, I can't wait to rip his clothes off. You know what I mean? That's desire. Like, I want to kiss you. I want to get you naked. There's none of that. That's desire. You desire something. I just don't, And why would I have affairs if I was in love? I mean, people still have affairs even when they're in love with their partner. But, more than one affair, Why would I have multiple affairs if I was in love? One time, okay, there's always an excuse for it, but multiple times? It's just I never felt that desire, I think it was, I don't know, opportunity. I wanted to get married. He was a wonderful guy, really awesome guy. And I knew, like other women told me, I would fall for the wrong people. We always fall for someone that is like our parents. We don't do it consciously, okay? You fall in love with someone like your mother or your father, and you try to repeat history with that. You're not doing this consciously with that person. I don't know why we do that. I think we're trying to, correct our childhood experiences, or maybe because it feels familiar. So, that person, it feels familiar. But it's not like a conscious thing we're doing. So, like I said, I did not come prepared. I just said, okay, I think I'm going to talk about this love and infatuation. And I hope I've given you some good advice on how you can tell yourself if it's love or if it's infatuation. And it's going to take time to do that, because love and infatuation are very, very similar in the beginning. In the beginning, like the gold. That gold necklace I had? I thought that was real 14 karat gold. It's still very shiny, but I put it under magnifying glass and it said 14 karat gold plated, GP. So eventually that's going to chip off. I don't know when it's going to chip off. But anyway, I took it off and I said, it's not the real thing. I don't want it. If it's love, it's a real thing, and you'll know it in time. And I hope that you find it, you know? I really do.